the man with all the answers from somewhere around the world, Mike from around the world. Mike, how you doing tonight?
Pastor Paul, doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay, Mike, doing okay. Take a deep breath, Mike.
Here we are.
Uh-huh. Now, last week, I remember I was talking, trying to talk a lot about Venezuela, and yes, it's important and it's big, what's happening. And you might have known it was coming because you said, yeah, but let's talk about Iran. Okay. So what happens? Maduro gets taken out of there. And then, of course, now we're in with Iran. But let's talk about first Venezuela. Let's talk about Maduro. He's out. Him and his wife, they're sitting in detention center in New York. They're going to be tried and go to prison. And so Darcy Rodriguez, his VP, gets to be the president, and Trump's allowing that. So talk us through the stability, the whole situation. Trump is trying to take over the oil wells and save that nation, yet he's got to work with who's there. Tell us how that works.
Well, he's enforcing sanctions that were put in place, right? In hopes that it will break the backs of some of these drug runners. So that's a very real deal. I know that people are focusing on the oil, right?
Right.
But the oil is actually fueling the drug trade, some of the corrupt things over there, right? So if you can halt that or redirect those funds, well, then you essentially break the back of the operations in Venezuela. And keep in mind, it's not that Venezuela was a difficult operation; it's that it's been a long-standing drug problem, and they were an ally, but it was still a long-standing drug problem for the USA. So there's a lot to prepare for. The USA has prepared for people, right? It's very,
Sure.
They're watching this now because people are going through withdrawals. So you can expect strange crimes.
Oh, you're talking about the
happening.
people in America who can't get their drugs.
Yep. So crime, as far as home invasions, people are going to have to be vigilant. They're going to have to, all they have to do is lock their cars, lock their homes up, right? And because some of these folks are desperate out there. And it's not that all people on drugs are violent. That's not what's happening. They're more petty crimes than anything else. That's going to be an ongoing problem, right? Which is why they released 2 more medications for anybody who's going through withdrawal symptoms. And if they are going through withdrawal symptoms, they ought to take advantage of it, right?
So, yeah, because in other words, this is a chance to get off the drugs,
It is. It is. We have, Pastor, we have a lot to do before Christ comes.
Right.
We have a lot of repair to do before Christ comes. We can't have dirty hands when he comes, right?
No, you're right.
We have a lot of cleanup to do. We have a lot of things to make right in our lives. And as a people of the church, we have a mandate to fulfill. So there's a lot to do, and other people have a lot to do because the Lord is coming and all things are pointing to it. If nobody ever saw that before, or they didn't believe that before, they can look around any given day and see that a change is here.
Absolutely.
Things are happening. And so it's a good wake-up call for people to prepare. And it's only just beginning. This is what change looks like, right? Everybody may not agree with it, but we've been doing the same thing for countless years, stuck in the same situation with the same problems. And the only thing that lawmakers have done is manage the issue, right? Not eliminate. They didn't eliminate anything. In fact, the drug problem has gotten worse. People's lives have gotten worse. And they have these psychological programs that Trump, cut us out of that were designed to help people cope with the problems of the world, essentially to cause people not to see the problems in the world.
to try to deaden the pain,
Yeah, well,
or
right
to
now,
just blind, or just to put a mask over it.
yeah, it's more like a psychological, giving everybody a temperament towards these problems that we have. If people would not, all they have to do is this: they can test themselves, shut off all entertainment, don't do any outings or anything else, and just see if a person can live in their own environment without the outside world. Chances are they're going to crave the outside world, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you test yourself and see how you're living, when you isolate yourself to see if you can actually, you know, live with what you have where you are without anything external. Once you, for example, uh, if everybody cut their circuit breaker for about 6 hours in one day, they're going to start to find out, right?
Yeah.
If they do it for 2 days, they're really going to find out.
Yeah.
And if they do it for, I believe the 5 day maximum, if they do it for 5 days, they're going to go through changes. Their sleep habits are going to change. Their mind is going to begin to reset. Because you'd be shocked at how many things we're so used to and it washes over. It really washes over the emotional instability that most people have. They don't even know who they are until things are, cut out.
Yeah.
So those programs were designed to affect entertainment, books, learning, all venues of reading and visuals and what you hear to cause a person to be somewhat numb to the issues that we face day to day. But President Trump and his administration are now implementing change.
Yeah, they are. It's sort of
They're
like
not managing the troubles.
they're not managing. They're
things.
changing things, which that's a little uncomfortable for people during the process, but will be better for us all in the long run, I would say. And I'm not saying that every one of his changes are going to be ideal, but I would think that instead of just putting a Band-Aid or kicking the can down the road or coming up with some mystical program that some handout thing that was supposed to somehow solve the problem, it just got worse. We're just sweeping everything under the rug. It's getting bigger. Look, can we ask a question? I mean, we've got to ask ourselves a question here, Mike, and that is Minnesota. I mean, it's one thing that we have this Somali daycare fraudulent scheme that's bigger than just Minnesota. But then we got the ICE situation, and Tim Walz now saying he's caught up in this magnanimous fraud thing, and then he wants to send the National Guard in to fight ICE. He can't do that. What's he doing?
Yeah, no, you have these people that are holding on to, or they're being loyal. Let's say they're being loyal to party lines, right? Kind of like what they did in World War II in Germany. They're holding on to party lines. And so what they're doing is they're doing everything they can do to fight the other side. But if you look in their faces, not all of them, but a big majority of them, they're trying to stay loyal to the Democratic Party, Pastor Paul, but it's uncomfortable for them.
Yeah.
They don't want to do it. You have a handful of people that are pushing these radical ideas, just a handful. I mean, just a handful, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have all the other folks who are staying loyal due to peer pressure.
Yep.
Right? That's what's happening. They don't want to remain loyal. They see no sense in it. A lot of Democrats right now, they're saying no sense in what's happening. Right? Kind of like this shooting that happened in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, Lord.
The media jumped the gun. Of course, they're going to take a position and fight for the left or right. But if you go back and look at the context of that, here's what happened. The woman in the car was driving down the street. She waves ICE to go ahead of her, right? Now, here's where the problem comes in. The one girl that actually fired her weapon, they should have showed where she was run over by a car. Not more than 2 weeks ago. So, of course, when it comes to vehicles, she's going to be a bit jumpy in those situations,
Exactly.
right? She did not have the context of that situation. She did not see the girl wave them on. She didn't see that. You can see that on the video. And so both those individuals made a bad, it was just a bad move. It was a bad move. From each perspective, both thought they did the right thing, because the girl in the car, to be fair, she did wave them on, right?
Yeah.
She waved them on, but then she saw them run up to her car and she panicked, right? The other girl that had the weapon, that fired the weapon, she was already run over once, and she saw this car headed right towards another ICE agent, right? So what is she going to do?
Yeah.
Right? Anybody would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Anybody. So it's unfortunate. It's one of those
Terrible.
unavoidable things. They're trying to spin it. It's a tragic loss of life, but there's going to be an outcome to it. When you can already see this this is about number 5 or 6. Well, so maybe a little more than that. But the point is, they're going to have to implement a policy that when ICE comes into a city or neighborhood, ICE is going to have a mandate, right? If they're going to operate in a certain area, they're going to have to lock that area down, so nobody's out there impeding operations.
Do they need the help of the state police, the county police, and the local police?
Yeah, they're going to need all of them, but they're going to have civilians and protests out of the way, and there's one way to do that. Only one way.
Okay.
And so, believe me, that's on the table, right? In order to keep people in their homes, you have to implement some sort of well, let's call it a curfew, but you know what the real word is.
I know what it is. Yeah, I know
and
what
they're
the
going to
word
have to
is.
implement that, right? Because they're going to have to sweep the entire nation.
So you're saying when they go into, let's say they go into a city, that they may need to put let's just use the word curfew, and maybe it's a 2-day curfew, it's a 3-day curfew or whatever. And then that's the period of time when nobody's to be on the streets. If you do, you're pretty well going to get arrested. Then that's the period of time they go and they make their moves and extract the people they need to.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right, because nobody's moving.
That's not going to go over well with the American public. You know that.
But if they saw an area, right, say for 2 days, and they implemented that, but they went through that town, no incidents, right?
Yeah.
And, that means anybody who breaks out and runs from their home, they're guilty. Nobody else is getting hurt. They may not like it at first. They may not like it. But
it would be safer.
It could be a necessary thing. Or they can continue to have shootings and protests and people being harmed. ICE agents are harmed every day, so are the protesters. It is senseless, useless, violence. They also should emphasize that if anybody is an illegal, to simply turn themselves in.
Well, I think Kristi Noem has been.
She did at one point. Yeah. She did at one point, but the media stopped. They stopped talking about it. Yeah. And if you don't talk about it to people, it does not exist. And that will keep people from taking these hostile stances, making up these stories, saying what they are. Listen, both the protesters and the soldiers, they're all Americans.
Right. I think.
So then the soldiers and the police, they're going to do their job. The protesters are going to do their job of protesting. But these lawmakers are feeding this violence machine. I don't blame that on the people. I blame that on the lawmakers.
The lawmakers are the ones that are
the mayors. Right. That's right.
That guy in Minnesota, the mayor of Minneapolis. I mean, that guy right there. That's the poorest excuse for leadership I've ever seen in my life.
That's what they accept.
But
that's what they accept.
This is what the party's doing, is creating radicals who go out and to stir up the crowd and tell their law enforcement to stay home and set these ICE guys up for like a gauntlet. And then these guys are trying their best to do what they're supposed to do, and they're not being put in a very good winning position.
That's why, I appreciate what President Trump is doing, although the interpretation is a bit wrong, because I can go back to the days when the Republicans did something very similar. And they were the ones pushing for violence.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And so Trump comes in. He's not pushing for violence.
No.
He wants these illegals out of the country, and that has to be emphasized.
Yeah.
not the violence part. So you have people with these older ideologies, which, to them it's war. It is not a war. It's a simple sweep,
That's very good.
right? We're going to have enough problems, whether people realize it or not. This is my opinion. We are now in World War III, right? That's what we're in right now. And all nations will begin to align with that.
And now, are we also? And I think this was your term. Are we in a government civil war?
Yeah. Governmental war is what I called it. Yep.
Yes,
you see it happening.
Yes, I do.
You see it happening, and heads will fly before this is all said and done.
So now, while that's happening in America, government civil war or governmental war, let's say, you're saying we've already begun World War III. Is that because of the extraction of Maduro and what? I mean, Iran. Let me read to you. This is from a couple insiders that sent this to me. They said, yes, the internet is down. This was 5 hours ago. The internet is down. There are a few who have smuggled in Starlink. Cell phones don't work. Parts of the country, electricity's turned off. It will be difficult to get an accurate death count tonight. Then the individual sent this to me and said, incoming events should start in Iran in 3 to 4 hours, or around 9 o'clock, they figured tonight. France has committed, and I'll let you give us an update. France has committed safely for the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's families to come to France. Private jets are already flying people out of Iran that have been landing in the last 36 hours into France. The Delta Force is in the house or in the theater, okay? And unfortunately, chatter in the United Kingdom says Iranian sleeper cells are activated. If the Iranian protesters get killed in large amounts, you could expect the United States to give a mighty fist punch. All right, Mike, let's go right back to here. Has something started in Iran?
Yes. In fact, a little bit ago, some hours ago, protesters were starting to hit some of the law enforcement with their vehicles.
Oh.
Fires have been started, banks have been burning down, all sorts of things have been happening. Part of the infrastructure is under severe damage right now, right? So those in power have diverted remaining resources to themselves naturally. But it's already started, and you have pushback, of course. Chemicals are being used in certain areas, and all sorts of things are happening. So it's begun. It's begun.
Are they going to? I know you were around in 1979. So was I. I was young. I was in high school. But yeah, are we seeing another revolution here? But this time back, they want the Shah. They want the son of the Shah. I think he is, right? The crown prince.
Yeah, he has a meeting with Trump coming up.
Yes, he does.
Right?
Yes,
so it looks like that could be some sort of installment proposal coming up, because he's back in the news again. And so normally when somebody gets in the news again, the people get comfortable. All of a sudden you see that person in power. The problem is those Iranian officials, they want war.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They want war right now. It's a very dangerous thing. Here's why. You have loose nuke materials over there. They could find their way all throughout the Middle East tonight, right? You have things happening tonight that are abnormal. You have, yesterday, you had Russia doing some very dangerous things right there with in front of NATO, right? They gave a demonstration essentially last night that they could hit NATO. NATO had no warning before they were under a type of missile strike. And in Ukraine, of course, Ukrainian folks were warned, but not in time enough. Now, Russia did notify the USA that these are not nuclear weapons.
Okay.
That was yesterday. They had to do that. But it was not, a friendly phone call.
No.
It was just a courtesy this time, right? But what they launched, Pastor Paul, was it literally looked like lightning bolts.
I seen them.
Ground.
I seen
them. It was that fast, right?
They were so like boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the second time that Putin has utilized that type of equipment out there. So, yeah, he's going to do it again. He's normally when he does that, and he has his own ideologies, but he's preparing to really do some damage, right? Russia, it's very important for Russia to propel some sort of idea of strength all the time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Which is why he does some of the things he does. But when facing an adversary like the USA, who is everywhere in the world, he already knows that what he must do is going to have to be dangerous, damaging, and he's going to have to do it in one blow, right? So that means he's going to utilize hypersonics with warheads.
With nuclear.
Yesterday there were no warheads. Those were inert warheads, simply by kinetic energy.
Yeah.
Those explosions happened. So imagine if it were a warhead on those things. Nobody would have a chance against that.
No.
Right?
No.
Those are not going to be intercepted by
no.
some of your mid-grade interceptors. That would take something like the Patriot system, their locking system, with some of the new Dart systems attached to intercept that, if it could intercept that. There's a lot of error. When you're dealing with hypersonics,
those hypersonics,
there's a lot of
I
error.
saw the video, and they were so fast. And like you said, that was just kinetic energy. There was no warhead on the head of that
That's
thing.
Right.
And they were so fast, I was thinking, what could intercept that? I mean, really, it would be very difficult.
Lasers. The only thing that can work against hypersonics are lasers.
Okay.
And remember, I told you something that last year, the beginning of last year, America and Israel were perfecting their laser defense system. Now, Trump knows what he's doing because he told everybody he's going to put up the Golden Dome over America.
Yes,
right?
He did.
He has to do that. He also has to secure Cuba, Venezuela. In fact, ships are on the way right now to another country, right now as we speak. And that operation will be underway. But he has to secure our southern border completely, right? He has to secure the Atlantic completely. He has to secure parts of the Pacific. So we're about to see one of the greatest naval operations ever.
So now let's talk.
That's what we're about to see.
Because there's two things he's been saying. Greenland has got to be, he's just saying, look, guys, I mean, we can either come in and do it, or you can come to us and let us pay you. We can do this easy, or we can do this hard, but we're going to do this. Is that what you're hearing when it comes to Greenland?
Well, that's what he's going to do. He told everybody, he said, we don't want it. We need it.
Yep, that's what he said.
We need that for strategic purposes.
And it's for the good. It's for the good of the entire Western Hemisphere, really.
Well, we have to have it. If you listen to what he said, he's telling everybody we have to have this for national defense.
Yes, he did.
Right? Because if America goes down, so do a lot of allies. They go down too. If America stands, we can defend a lot of allies. It's coming down to the point where America will be engaged in quite a few things. Right? We have to have our defenses up. It's only a matter of time before somebody launches something in our direction, right?
Now, what about what about Mexico? Is that another? I mean, look, I know Venezuela.
If they don't allow us, right, to electronically command a few things, if they don't agree, we're gonna have no choice. We cannot leave that open, right? That's why the Gulf of America is named the Gulf of America. Right, that's almost like a prelude to what's coming. All those places have to be secure. Russia by itself, we can handle, right? China by itself, we can handle. If these guys start joining forces, we're going to have casualties.
It's going to be trouble.
Okay, if we're going to have casualties. And so one of the most important jobs right now is to keep these guys from holding hands militarily. We cannot, if we permit that, if that happens, it's going to be a showdown, and many will die.
So that's why
many will die in that showdown.
You're already saying World War III has begun, because the positioning and the strategic setting up of assets it's like a game of Risk. It's on. We're in the game, right? The game has begun.
That's right.
Assets are being moved, positionings are being figured out, technologies are being perfected, new innovative machinery and technological weaponry is being invented, Every area. He's going to build the greatest navy in the history of the world. I think that's what he's going to do. Maybe the greatest military in the history of the world. Maybe we already there. Maybe we already
Is
are.
that Trump?
Yeah.
President Trump.
Yeah.
We have it. We're more expanded. Nobody talks about it because that wouldn't be
it wouldn't be smart
to do. Right. But we're there. We're everywhere right now. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay. We're everywhere. But we have to be careful. We have to be very careful. Things are invented every single day. You have all these communications devices, and there are counter communications devices. We have problems with the sun, right? That has caused major issues with all military forces. And there's this one bothersome scripture.
Okay.
See, biblically, always factor in the end results.
Okay.
And the Lord said that He would strike the horses with blindness.
Yeah, He does say that.
And the riders with madness. We don't use horses.
No.
But if the vehicles are blind, that means no GPS. If
That's
GPS goes down, that means our Air Force is compromised, right? That means Air Force and Space Command are compromised. If that takes place, nobody has GPS. And then when that happens, Pastor Paul, then you're talking about panic damage all over the planet. That if God does not get involved, everything will be lost. Right. So, and we know that some sort of device will be used that will take a lot of lives all at one time. And things like that will happen. So we're positioning ourselves for these times to come.
Because without GPS, besides planes couldn't go where they want to go or whatever, you couldn't even launch nukes in the right.
You can't even drive these new cars. They will not work without GPS. Your phones will not authorize without. They can't even, without GPS, your phones cannot triangulate, right? So the timing's going to be off.
Yep.
And that's what GPS does, by the way, because timing in space passes faster than here on this earth, or slower than on the earth. And so it compensates for all that. Everything will be lost. All missile systems save hours, right? Because to be honest, our missiles do not require GPS.
Oh, we stayed old school? Is that
No. Our missiles are intelligent.
Oh, they're AI. Right? They're AI.
They can go out there and fly themselves. They've been that way for the last 21 years. Yeah, they're pretty smart.
We jumped the fence a long time ago, is what you're saying.
We're far ahead of what the civilian knowledge of AI is one thing, right?
Yeah.
Military has been there, done that.
Yeah. Artificial superhuman intelligence, we're there already.
Maybe been there, done that.
Maybe even the next level, whatever that is.
They've been there, done that.
So. Okay. Let's talk about Putin for a minute then, because he's got this war been raging on for 4 years with Ukraine. I don't know. He's not backing down. He's breaking out new weapons on them. He's got the China situation. We know China's slowly wearing down Taiwan and desensitizing the world. Putin's worried. Why is Putin pulling? Look, he's pulling people out of Israel tonight. He's been emptying out the Israeli embassy. Why?
He knows what he's about to do. Iran is in trouble, correct?
Yeah, he's pulling them out of there too.
We have Delta operators on the ground, according to the news reports that are out there. We have Delta operators on the ground. So we have, we have forces out there.
Delta force.
So that means there's going to be a support. There's going to be support parameters put in place for Iranian officials.
Yep.
So the USA is going to go into an offensive mode and a defensive mode, and so will they. They already know that. They can't have people in Israeli embassies, because when that happens, right, sleeper cells right now are waking up all over the world.
Yep.
All over the world right now. That's why people have to be very vigilant. Over the last week, they've been reporting many people have been struck by vehicles. Officials have been hit by vehicles all this week, all last week, week before, and it's increasing, right? There's sabotages happening all over the planet. So things are happening that are very difficult to forecast. We are in a spot, and Putin understands that he can't leave his people for the sake of information, because he's not gonna have those people exposed to the Mossad, right? To extract information from. He's going to get everybody out of there. Whenever they make a public statement like that, there's also a communication to the USA.
Yeah. Okay. So
those are in fact communications. Certain moves that they make are communications more than anything else sometimes. But
it's a chess move.
He's gonna be in defense of his allies, right? He's going to be in defense of them.
Putin, so, you say? Putin?
Yeah, well, he's already doing it. They already have Russians in Iran, right? They already have them in Iran. They've already engaged in certain ways, and all of that's coming out. All that's coming out.
So he's pulling his staff out of the embassy in Israel, out of Tel Aviv, and he is extracting also embassy personnel out of Iran, out of Tehran. He knows what's getting ready to go down. He doesn't want to have his people trapped somewhere. Let me ask you this question. When you say there's going to be strange things, how does a plane landing in Atlanta, how do all 8 tires burst on the landing? All 8. Have we ever heard of such a thing?
You know what? No, I haven't. I mean, that would have to be an extremely hard landing.
And they're saying it wasn't.
All 8 tires.
They're saying it wasn't. They're saying it was not a hard landing. It was just a normal.
There is one way.
Okay.
There's one way you can do that. During maintenance, aircraft are required to have maintenance and inspections a lot, right?
Yeah.
We know that Boeing has had an issue with inspection enforcement and quality control. So there's a chance that these tires missed their mandatory changeover, right? So they kind of slip through the maintenance logs. An aircraft, when it flies so many hours, you have to replace brakes, tires, shocks, all sorts of things. So they have their maintenance schedule. Boeing has had an issue with people being able to get a flight out there and approved with essentially falsified maintenance records or inadequate maintenance records, and that's a no-no. That's a no-no. So that's why you have engines falling off and things like that. But I don't want to say the word, but that's exactly how sabotage works, right?
Yeah.
You infiltrate. You get a hold of one of these younger fellows. You have this individual forget something, or you get somebody to approve something, or whatever the case is. All they have to do is continue to slip these maintenance logs past that point of quality control. They can do a lot of damage that way, right?
Yeah.
So Boeing has an issue. If they don't have control of their people in that way, and we know they don't because they've been in problems for some time now, that's a real issue, right?
It is.
That means that whole fleet could be grounded. That's why they ground entire fleets. Now, the first thing they start checking are maintenance logs and entries to make sure that people did what they're supposed to do, and that the maintenance logs actually do match, what people have approved. But can you imagine, Pastor Paul, that you have at any given time 900 aircraft, and somehow 50% of those aircraft had a flawed maintenance log?
No.
That'd be devastating.
It would
right?
be
So
unbelievable.
they really have to get a handle on that.
Yeah.
In fact, now that we had this conversation, well, people might start hearing that on the news, that they're going to, get some eyes on Boeing itself and begin to oversee some of their inspections and maintenance practices.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good ideal. I mean, you got 221 people on board, plane lands, and all 8 tires blow out. It wasn't a hard landing. And so, I mean, was there a chain reaction, or was there sabotage, or was it just really poor maintenance, and it just happened to be a bad day? I mean, eight for 8. I mean, come
on, because you can have one blowout.
Maybe 2.
It will not affect the rest.
No,
right?
Not 8. Not 8.
All 8 go out at the same time. No. Something was missed.
Yeah. Well, but that's one of the things we got to watch for. When you start talking about sleeper cells, this is one way to bring panic and chaos and bring a nation to its knees.
They're going to do it too. I fear they're going to do it, right? So as they do it, as they begin to do these things, everybody should anticipate what will naturally happen. If these sleeper cells are successful in what they're doing, and too many people are being killed in these different ways, we already know Jade Helm is going to happen to this country. But it won't be, it's not like it's going to be the end of the world or anything like that. Okay. It'll rattle some folks naturally, but people have to stop listening to the rhetoric of the news. That's the first thing they have to stop doing, right? The news is getting people worked up.
Yep.
As soon as people watch the news, they go out there in those protests based on what they heard somebody's opinion, right? Or somebody's advice of what they should do. These people are emotionally compromised.
Yep.
We're not to listen to anybody who's in a high state of anger,
No.
anybody who's in a high state of agitation. That's not, we don't follow people who are not sober. We certainly don't take the advice of a person who is not sober.
Well, that's what
we have to listen to the word, right?
Right. That's what worried me about the mayor of Minnesota when he came out and he was dropping the F-bomb and he's challenging and I'm thinking, this isn't leadership.
That's what it's for.
What is this guy doing?
What it's for. Well, in his mind, right? In his mind, he's a young fella. Mm-hmm. So in his mind, the Democratic Party is under fire, is under siege. Now think of this. If you had a person believe that the Democratic Party is being assaulted and attacked, that the Constitution is being, buried, that everybody is taking the wrong position, all you have to do is get a person who really believes in what they're doing to believe in that, in that perspective. And then you have a good governmental war on your hands, right? You have leaders fighting leaders.
It's not good. It's childish.
And that's what we see.
Yeah.
And sadly, it's escalating. So the only way to get rid of that is through a process of absorption.
Let's talk about Jade Helm. You bring that up again, and it's very important. I remember we covered that back in 2013, 14. It was like a covert. It was a military operation in plain sight when you're unaware it's coming, and they did it periodically in different places. That we caught on to the fact that there's something going on here. So when you said the best way to handle the immigration issue would be to do some kind of curfew for a couple days and work different neighborhoods around the country.
Yep.
The public won't like it. The media will try to use it as fodder. But I think overall the public will like it because it's like, okay, it's our turn. We can do this. And it's the best way to I think, though, the Democrat Party is going to have a hard time because they don't want to see these people go. I mean, wouldn't it be kind of disarming them in a way?
Yeah, because it ruins it. Here's the sad part. I really hate this. A long time ago, I said that when they tell these people that that the border's open or that they can get in here, we're not going to kick them out. They're sending an invitation to people, and here's what normally happens: you have a family who wagers their life's savings on coming to America, right? Yep. Their life's savings, Pastor Paul.
I know.
Because somebody lied to them and said, if you get in America, all you have to do is get across the border and you're good. You can start working the system there. Yep. Well, that's a lie. And that's what's been told to a lot of people. So you have a lot of good people who have come here. They're illegals.
Led astray.
But they're good people, but they have lost everything and have given up everything to come here. It is heartbreaking. I mean, heartbreaking.
I agree.
Because these people are trying to survive. And you have these irresponsible lawmakers who will not, all they had to say was, do not come to America illegally. You're going to waste everything, right? You're going to waste everything and get sent back. That's all they had to say, but they wouldn't say it.
No.
They made it a point not to say it. And so now you have intermingled with these good people who have come here. You have criminals who are making it even worse. All of them are not criminals. The good people are suffering because of this.
Right.
Because those who believe in an open border lie to them. That's an incentive to come over here and defy laws and rules and regulations and roll the dice. No, because these people have children, they have families, right? And if once you see what they go through to get here, that's the heartbreaking part.
That's terrible.
They don't get here overnight. Sometimes it takes months for them to get here. And many people die along the way. Good people die along the way. Children die along the way, right? It's like a mass exodus away from crime, away from torture, away from all sorts of things. And these irresponsible lawmakers were too foolish to say, don't do it. Don't do it that way. You're going to get sent home. That's all they had to do. And the people would have said, no, we're not going to do it that way.
Right.
But they did not encourage people coming in the right way. Now that President Trump is putting everybody back out again, they have built up programs around the illegals, right?
Yep.
So in essence, a lot of their power surrounds illegal immigrants and all those programs. Every program means money, right?
Free
job
money.
stability. If they don't have any illegal immigrants, what job do they have? So you'll find a lot of those people gone. They'll be jobless because those programs won't exist. So what they're really doing is protecting their pocketbooks. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
they don't care about the people.
They're doing
they
it
care
at
about
the,
those programs.
and they're doing it at
that
the
take in
expense.
taxpayers' money.
Yeah,
That's
they're doing
right.
it at the
That's right.
expense of the people, the human lives.
That's right.
And some of these folks, when they come across, as you said, good people, families trying to just come for a better life, and then when they get here, they have to spend everything they got. And they get here, and they still they're slaves. Okay, they still got to pay. Maybe they got to work off somehow. Another $7,000, $8,000, $10,000 at menial wages. I mean, they're still slaves, and it takes so long, and they were lied to, and the politicians who do that know they're doing that, purposely doing that, is just criminal. It's criminal, and you're right. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's beyond heartbreaking. There's so many good people who have been led astray in this.
Yeah. Well, those politicians, Pastor Paul, I'll tell you what Roosevelt said. He said, if you want a friend in Washington, get a dog.
Yeah, he's about right on that.
He said, get a dog, because those people are hostile. I mean, how can you know about the Democrats now? I'm talking about the Democrats, and no, I'm not. I don't claim either side.
I know you don't.
But I'm talking about the Democrats,
right,
who will sit there and act like they're fighting for these people, yet they go to a dinner at nighttime, right, at $50,000 a head. All of them have their salaries do not. They have 4 or 5 different mansions, a house in every single state, yet they're supposed to be making, $75,000 a year, $110,000 a year, something like that, right?
Yeah.
No, they're making millions of dollars a week. That's what they're after.
Yeah.
Money. They don't have to really work.
No.
All they have to do is run their lips, fill out papers, and argue, right?
Yeah.
He should really hit that. It should be a forfeiture of pay. And if you become a government official, you should not. It should be just like the Lord set it up at one time. You remember the Levites were not to own any property.
No, they were not to own.
They could not own a thing. That way, they were in the priesthood.
Right.
And they were doing what they were doing for the right reasons.
Right.
As soon as they abolished that, many of the Levites went astray. They started doing weird things, started marrying outside of Israel, this, that, and the other.
Yep.
But the government officials should go through the exact same thing.
Wow.
And then we'll see who's serving, right? Because we really need leaders in this nation.
We need
not people who see a paycheck.
Amen. Mike, also, let's talk about this. The Mormon church, the LDS church over here in Salt Lake City, they're having a funeral service, a wake at night. The people are out on the street. Somebody comes along and shoots 6 of them. 2 are dead. 3 are critically wounded. The police are saying that it was assault on the faith, but there's other indications this could have been more of a targeted situation. Do you have any, again, the Church of Jesus Christ, no matter what the denomination is, anytime it's anything to do with Jesus Christ, it's going to be targeted. But what is your take on what happened here?
Well, what it seems, this follows in suit every time foreign policy is of a specific nature. It causes this type of issue right after.
Okay, explain
every single time. So we know we have Muslims in America,
Yeah.
We know we have radical ISIS wannabes in America, right?
Yep.
These are through unstable children and unstable people, period. If they have an opportunity to vent their anger and frustration, they're gonna find some radical legitimized avenue to do it. Past all, we will see an increase in this. Everybody is not mentally stable in America. People are on the verge right now. They really are. They're at a tipping point, you could say, and they're losing it. Not to mention, I hate to say this too, but a lot of these crimes are being committed by a very specific set of people, right? From what was abolished, I'll say, when Trump stepped into office. Those individuals, they want revenge. All right, think of this scenario: a person who can make a radical change to themselves, so radical they cannot. Some of those people, their mindset is out there, right? So if they get enraged, they're not going to give up revenge. They will act. And anytime there is dissension in this country, because that follows, that act of ICE, you're looking at people who are over the edge right now.
Yeah, you're right.
They're pushed. And every time, again, we're back to the leaders who speak these violent things. What do they expect? They're going to tip these people are not mentally stable. And so when they hear an official say, harsh things, they will take that cause upon themselves and begin to act.
Yeah.
Never fails. It always happens that way.
Well, all right, Mike. Now, another quick question here is, will the Ayatollah make it in the next week? By next Thursday night when we're here, is he still going to be in charge of Iran?
Well, it depends. Listen, when Delta operators on the ground, right?
Yep.
If the order's given,
he'll be out.
Then that's it for him. That's it for him.
So is he going to get the same offer that Maduro did? I mean, Maduro was given a
He already had the offer.
Uh-oh. You better
Trump
not.
already said, if you touch those Christians, you're done. That's what he said. So he already had his opportunity. He already had it.
So he might be done already. We just may be waiting on the hammer to fall.
Yeah. Listen, and Delta operators, just a keynote about those guys. And when you're a Delta operator, you do loan training, right? So imagine this: they drop you off on the top of a mountain. They don't tell you why. They give you an extraction point, or let's just say they give you a set of coordinates. They say be at these coordinates. They don't even tell you how long. They don't tell you anything, right? Yeah. This is part of the assessment course.
Yeah.
They say you be at those coordinates. You make it to those coordinates. If you make it there, they'll say, good job. It may take you 2-3 days, or whatever the case is. And then they give you this post evaluation of what you did, what you should have changed, this, that, and the other. And then they turn around and do it again. They do not tell you. And the point is to have you to operate in hostile places by yourself for unlimited amounts of time, right? And you meet your objective silently. Mm-hmm. And they do it very efficiently. So these guys are proficiently trained to go beyond the limits of the body, but most importantly to really blend into the environment, to move around, to do what they need to do. With that, they don't complain. They're not crying. They're not this, not that. They're so used to this that if you give one of them an objective, they're going to carry it out, period. It'll be done.
So they're period. Right. So they're on the ground. I mean, I got that confirmation. You're saying it. You're confirming it. They're on the ground. So they're just waiting on the word. They're just waiting on the go, I guess. And maybe they've already been given the word. We don't know. Maybe it's so many, maybe it's Saturday night at 3:45 a.m. We don't know. But whatever one thing's for sure, if the Ayatollah has had his chance to leave and he didn't take it,
he did.
He should have learned something from Maduro.
Too late. He should have came to the table. Right?
Look, when you fire 600 missiles at Israel last year, and not one of them hit anything, and when the United States fly in the middle of the night, you don't even see them, and they're dropping bombs right through your shaft into your nuclear facilities. when he says, gives you a golden parachute and says, you better take this, you take this. Or you're insane. Or is maybe the spiritual, maybe this religious war is so deep and so ingrained that you're blind. You become so blind to the situation.
One of the real causes is when you're up on the ladder in Iran and you're harsh in your treatment of the people with that iron grip. It's just like the mafia. If the mafia leader shows a weakness, then one of his subordinates is going to take him out.
Yeah.
All right. So you're locked into your own statements. You may not want to do something, but if you do not show aggressiveness, if you don't show strength, you're going to be taken out within an hour by your own people. And so with everybody in fear of that exact thing, nobody bends foolishly. How foolish is that? It's like once you get into that hierarchy, you're stuck. You're not just going to walk down.
There's only one way
stuck.
out, and it's not. It's in a
That's
pine
right.
box.
You're stuck. So even if he wanted to, well, there may be a chance he couldn't. He just couldn't do it. Yeah. I know he's cutting side deals with Putin.
Oh yeah.
I know they're trying to. I know that some of them have already relocated to Russia.
And I've heard that, and I have reports that some of the gold has already left Iran.
Yep.
In Russia.
I take France is so foolish. How foolish is that?
I know.
Because how foolish is that?
Why would France? Why would Macron willing to take on Revolutionary Guard soldiers and families for the gold? I'm sure, but why would you take these guys into your camp? I mean, does that make sense?
I think he's got a problem.
Yeah.
He's not announcing to the world that his country is compromised. If he makes the Islamic world mad, France is done.
Done. They'll cook them from the inside out.
Yes.
Wow, Mike. Wow. Yeah. Okay. One more question for you. One more prediction. What's going to happen now at Venezuela? Okay. Is Trump going to let the existing regime that's still there control it, or is President Trump going to?
He's going to watch. He's going to manage. It'll be under control of the council in the USA. And if they align with it, right, because you have a corrupt set of people there who are loyal to this other fella, right?
Absolutely.
And so they share his ideologies, and you have to kind of get all those people out. So they're going to be watching the crimes, what the types of crimes that are taking place, who's doing what. And we have eyes all over the ground, right? I believe right now they're trying to negotiate with oil companies to see who they can get to go in there and start setting up operations.
Yep.
Right? It's a very difficult job because most people are not comfortable with the idea of what happened yet. So until they have some sort of stability, they're going to continue to watch it. Now it could. There's a chance that Venezuela could turn into something like Vietnam,
like North and South Vietnam.
There is a chance that could happen.
It could divide.
Right? There's a chance that could happen.
Now, let me ask you this: if we can get the United States oil companies back in there, getting everything up and running, and if an agreement is made that says, hey, a percentage of that is going back to the Venezuelan people, not to the regime, because that's what it was. Chevron and these guys were doing a great job. There was money flowing. There was jobs. Venezuela was one of the richest countries in our hemisphere. And then when Chavez got in, he just decided, why do we gotta just take? Why are we just taking a royalty from these guys? Let's just take the oil well. I mean, and he started that entire mentality of communists. Just take what you want. Take this restaurant. Take that over there. Take the farm. Kill that guy and take his house. I mean, that's what they did. Okay. So is it possible that Trump is able to get this thing situated to where everybody could win or is it impossible?
No, it's possible. It's possible. He's just going to have to watch.
Yeah. Figure out who's good.
Those in power, right? Because there will certainly be some changes of leadership in that place, right?
Gotta be.
Certainly got now, but he has his people who are against him, who are going to accuse him the same things No, that the average person would accuse a warlord of. Trump's going to have those accusations over his head from this point forward. We already, they're not going to go away. The interpretation is they're going to call him a warlord, right? But the truth is, the people of Venezuela wanted Maduro gone.
Yeah, they did.
They couldn't speak out. Even right now, Pastor
They
Paul,
can't
they're
cry.
nervous.
They're
They
nervous.
cannot celebrate the way they want to because there are too many people over there that are embedded like ticks, and they're watching everybody because they like to tattletale. They're in the habit of tattletaling, and so it's a known fact. You have to watch that. Certain people have been put under protection, right? But I do believe they will begin to weed out some folks now. If this global conflict starts to show itself, and it's going to encourage sides, right?
Yeah.
Then we know we're going to have to by force clean that place out just to defend the USA. We can't afford to lose footing in that place.
No.
We can't do that. And we're going to have to do something with Mexico likewise.
Yeah.
Right? We can't afford that, or it's over.
What about Greenland, Colombia?
It's going to be taken at that
Cuba.
point. If anything breaks out, Pastor Paul, I'm telling you, if anything breaks out, there's going to be no negotiation with Greenland. We're going to set up operations and do what we have to do by sea.
Right.
They say they can hold their own and defend. They can't defend certain areas the way they think they can.
No.
Right? They simply don't have they have the heart, but they don't have the tech. Right. And unfortunately, in this day and age, tech is required to win wars.
Yep. Mike, this has been a powerful broadcast. I have to give you a lot of credit and thank you a lot for this, because this was important. I titled this broadcast, "It Has Begun." I think you confirmed it when you said we're already in World War III. And this time next week, we don't know who's going to be. We don't know which country. We don't know what we don't know what Iran's going to be. We don't know what other country is going to be in the process of falling. I mean, this is a very volatile time. I think we're right in the Bible. We're so close to that Ezekiel 38 situation with Russia getting out of Iran, getting out of Israel, yet the hook is still in the jaw. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what? That is that hook in the jaw, right? They have an interest in the Middle East. They cannot leave. There's been a lot of high-level discussions with Turkey taking place, right? They can't leave. They can't survive without the Middle East. They can't do it. And so if Iran, for example, before that territory is completely lost, they will intervene. Now unfortunately, we know that somehow darkness will get the upper hand for a season.
Yep.
We know that.
Yeah, we know that.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that's something also people should prepare themselves for.
Yep.
But until that happens, we have a job to do.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
And even when it happens, we still have a job to do if we're here. But we have a job to do, or we wouldn't be here at all. Right? Amen. And there's a lot of personal preparation that people have to get themselves. We got to get our houses cleaned up before the Messiah comes back to see.
Well, we got to make ourselves ready.
We can have spots and wrinkles.
No, can't have no spots and wrinkles in our garment. Nope. No. Got to get some cleanup. That's why we need to keep working on our, on who we are with Christ, and
Amen.
That we got enough to take care of there. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it tonight. I really did. I learned a lot, and I've seen some different perspectives, and I think the audience did too. So God bless you for that. Thank you.
Pastor Paul, God bless you, and thank you. Thank you, Pastor Paul.
But I have the honor to say thank you. All right? God bless.
All right. God bless, Pastor Paul.
Mike from the world, folks. He's just a